Movies are seriously such a blessing to humanity, and in this video I am going to tell you why.
I gotta believe, oh gotta believe I'm gonna make it one more round. I gotta believe in myself, you gotta believe in yourself. We gotta prepare ourselves, deny our fears and hope for a one out. Gotta believe, gotta believe, gotta believe.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lauren, the film student extraordinaire, and I watched Howl's Moving Castle this past weekend, and at the end of the movie I just was so in my feels. I was like, we don't deserve movies. Movies are so magical. Movies do so much for us that we don't deserve them. I can't believe I'm gonna make them. And I was just all over the place. But then I really channeled those feelings the next day into planning for this video, because I just got really inspired about like, what do movies really have to offer us? Why are they so amazing? And like why we don't deserve them, basically. So if you're interested, keep watching.
I was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed and be in the moment.
Also, all of the things I'm going to say are my opinion. The movies I reference are just examples of the things I'm talking about, or movies you see across the screen. Obviously, these categories are super broad, and there could be movies that you feel fit into something I say that I don't mention, and that's totally cool. So the first thing I want to mention, and this may be something that's, I feel like this is something so maybe obvious that we don't think about it, but basically, images are a universal way of communicating in a broad sense. Obviously, there are some, as we evolve, like more niche things that maybe culturally you don't realize, or like a meme. I don't know if you really want to call a meme this kind of image, but if you don't know the context, you're not going to get it. But for example, like if somebody smiles all across the world, we know what a smile means. You know, we all know what like these signs of emotion are. We just understand these things. And we think about like silent films, they were really popular with lots of different people. Working people wouldn't have, like, you know, at the end of the day or maybe the end of the week they wanted to do something. It didn't matter if they didn't really actually speak the language maybe of the title cards of the film. Maybe they were like subtitled or someone was there to read them. But mostly there was no talking. You were just really watching a story take place, and you could follow along. And I think that's just such a powerful thing about this form of communication, and I just love it. Along with that, obviously, like, films offer us a way to escape our lives. Now, I love stories in general. I like reading a lot. I love music, especially songs that have kind of like a story to them when I'm listening to them. And obviously, as a filmmaker, I love watching films and TV shows, but especially like a movie that really grips me. Just amazing, because they give us this new way out of our current world. If it's a really good movie, you're not in the present anymore. You're completely absorbed in the world of the film. And then it's such a powerful thing. If you're ever at a movie theater, you know, maybe you're the kind of person who often checks their watch, but every now and then there's gonna be a movie you go into and you never feel like you need to check your watch because you were just so wrapped up in the movie. That is the kind of escapism that films offer us in such a gorgeous way. They also give us this way to dream and imagine. As a kid, I mean, I'm not like old, but when I was younger, and you know, we all have those fantasies. Like, maybe I thought I was gonna be like a professional dancer because I like to dance. I would watch, you know, movies about ballerinas, whether they were live action or even like Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses. Like, who cares? I would just be watching these movies and I could just imagine that was me, or I was gonna be dancing like that. And it was just so inspirational, or gives you places you want to go to, things you want to do, experiences that films have opened your eyes to. And I just think it's amazing. It's amazing, and you can imagine the scenarios, and We owe all that stuff to all the people who put in their souls into the films, into the film worlds, into the costumes, into the makeup, like everything that someone put into the design to give us this world that we can just dream about. This kind of combines both of the things I mentioned with like these dreams and escapism, but the cool thing about film is it's not just like you watch something and then you leave and it's gone. It's like we've entered another world, whether it's our world or not, but when we leave it at the end of the movie, we have something with us. Like we can take things, whether it's inspiration or ideas, I guess you could say the same thing, or just like reinvigoration, energy. We can take these things out of the film and apply it to our lives. Like, isn't that crazy? Like someone else made something. I hopefully want to do that one day. Like someone made something and you watched it and a piece of you is now growing. It's different because of the movie that you took to yourself. Something resonated with you and now you can let it loose in our world today. Like that is just insane to me. It's just insane. Films are also so much more than just entertainment. Everything I've spoken about so far has pretty much all been about entertainment, but they also can be informational, whether it's a documentary or not. I mean, I was watching The Impossible the other day. It's not a new film, but I was just rewatching it. It's a great movie to watch to remind you about all the different perspectives people come from and how there's like everyone can kind of be on equal footing sometimes, like when during a disaster, but because of our society and different social classes, things kind of revert back to what they are, and you know that's potentially very problematic, and we need to work on that. And that's the kind of movie that can really inspire you to want to do something about it. Often I do find those kind of films that are informational, if they're not a documentary, are based on true events, inspired by true events, but that's not necessarily the case. I mean, I learned a lot about like old ideas and old movies. Like part of the thing that first got me interested was the movie Hugo, which was funnily enough directed by Martin Scorsese. That's only funny because I'm taking a class about him this semester. Anyways, we can just learn a lot from them. They can inspire movements, they can inspire social change. We do have to recognize that every film is made from a certain perspective, and that's very often acknowledged in fictional films, but sometimes we watch a documentary and you kind of think, oh, it's a documentary, so everything has to be true. And we just have to remember that there's always multiple opinions. So if it's a more opinion-based doc, you have to try to see, like, are we getting multiple perspectives? For example, the latest documentary that's like blowing up on Netflix, or it was recently, Seaspiracy. I thought that was insane. Definitely some great points, but they also never talked to anybody on the other side of the issue. They didn't talk to anyone who was like, yes, fish farms. Like they didn't talk to anyone about any of that stuff. And while I think it's a great documentary, we have to recognize that we didn't hear a whole other side to that story. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're watching a documentary, that we understand that it's entertaining and it's informative, but unfortunately, often it's up to the audience to determine what sources are valid or not. But I don't actually think that's necessarily a problem of the movie. I think that movies should be as transparent as possible with sources, but at the same time, I think it is kind of a powerful thing for the audience to get challenged and hopefully go in and want to do their own research on something, because I think seeing as a movie or documentary as like a starting place for a new line of research, new line of inquiry, anything like that, that's awesome. And I hope that you have watched something that has inspired you to go out and learn more. The last thing I want to touch on to keep this video as short as possible is representation. Movies can give us a representation that we may not see right in front of us, depending on where we live, where we are. And I think that is the most powerful thing, whether it's by different races and ethnicities being shown on the big screen, when so often in the media it is a lot of white people. For example, the big films that I can think of right off the top of my head would have to be Black Panther and The Farewell. Those were huge films. We can also see representation in sexuality, such as with films like But I'm a Cheerleader, Brokeback Mountain, Carol, mental illness. We get lots of representation with that. I mean, one of my favorite movies has to be The Perks of Being a Wallflower. That's a phenomenal film about like mental trials and struggles that you may not necessarily see just like living your day, or it's something that's not really talked about. And there are so many other movies that can give you representation. So if there's a movie that you really saw once that really spoke to you and like spoke into your soul, like please comment down below. All in all, I know, again, this was a quick video, just a couple things putting out there, but these are just some of the reasons that I think movies are incredible. I really don't think we deserve movies as people, but I'm so happy that we have them, and I hope that they inspire us to deserve them as we hope to keep creating them, to keep entertaining, informing, learning, and growing. And I am so excited to hopefully be a contributor to that movement as a filmmaker in the future. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, again, please consider commenting, and subscribing. And I do post videos twice a week, so you'll be sure to see me. And be safe, happy, and healthy, and I'll see you next time.